haven't seen it, well, we're gonna spoil it.
Spoil it in your face.
That's your warning. So if you get pissed, it's all your fault. Woo-hoo. Woo-hoo.
Oh, sorry, Justin.
No. I was about to come with some bullshit. You had your own bullshit. I was like, all right, Tati, go off. Go off. I didn't know what you were doing. I thought I was ready to start dropping some lyrics on this shit, but you weren't ready. Okay, fair enough.
That's how you know we're unscripted totally. Hi, guys. It's Tatiana.
Guys, this is Justin, and this is Medium Popcorn. Spoiling movies. We spoiling movies, and we've got a new movie, something fresh, hot off the presses. That's right. It is Wake Up Dead Man. Actually, it's not too hot off the presses because this came out, I think, was it November 26th. So it came out Thanksgiving Day of 2025. So close enough, right? And guys, if you don't remember, Brandon is on a sabbatical. He needs to work on his mental health. He needs to make sure that he's feeling good and feeling great. And in the meantime, Tati is filling in, and Tati is giving us all the inside scoops to the things that makes Brandon go crazy. Therefore, we found out that Tati and I like to talk about human appendages, right? Brandon, It's already gotten back to Brandon. And it doesn't seem, he's just like, what is going on the podcast? So guys, I want to let you know we are going to continue to talk about dicks on this podcast as much as possible. That's right. It's not two men talk about dicks. It's not two men talking about titties. It is a man and a woman talking about dicks together for everybody. Okay?
Yes.
For everybody.
If you can, share your thoughts and or leave us a message about the dick conversations, Brandon would love that even more.
Yes. Tell us about how you're enjoying the dick off. You can leave us a 5-star review. You can leave us a comment on Patreon. You can leave us anywhere wherever you listen to this podcast, leave us a little love because we want to hear about it. And you can do it at patreon.com/mediumpopcorn. You can sign up for a Patreon as well. Or you can just, drop us a little email at mediumpodcast@gmail.com. Guys, we're here to listen for all the bullshit. We love the bullshit. Or hit us up on social media. We'll get to that at the end of the show. But let's jump into Wake Up Dead Man. Now, Tati, you've watched all of the Knives Out series, correct? I assume, right?
I have. I love murder mysteries. I don't know if I've ever said that before. I think I have. Listen, if it has to do with death, gore, vampires, like I'm all for the shits and the giggles. So I actually really enjoy the Knives Out series or the mysteries, Knives Out mysteries. So this is the third installment of the Knives Out mystery. And I have to say, when we got to see this at a screening in a theater, and then we got invited to a special press thing as well. I've seen this movie probably about 5 or 6 times since it's come out. So I really enjoy this one.
See, that I love a good whodunit. These things always speaks to me. And partly I think the reason I like it, I think the reason that most people like it, because they want to see how smart they are and how great of a detective they would be. Yes. Me personally, I think I would be an awesome detective because with all of these movies, I tend to figure them out. Like TV shows like this, I'm just like, that guy's a killer. And not necessarily super, super early, but I put it together before it starts to be put together on the film or television show. And Paula kind of gets mad at me, which also makes me feel even a little bit better. If I can stick it to my wife, I'll take it. I'll take it.
Well, Brandon and I really enjoy watching any sort of mystery type stuff. We are huge fans of Law and Order. So, and on any sort of whodunit in film, we're down with. We actually used to have a subscription to this like murder mystery club where they would send you a box,
Yeah.
and so you had to figure out a box of clues. So there's like this overarching murder. You have to figure out who
Mhm.
murdered the person, and then every month or every week or every month, I forget what it was, you got a new set of clues, and then you'd have to like figure it out. So for months, we had a map of a make-believe island, and we had post-it notes like body found here, murder weapon there, and people who came to our house thought that we actually killed somebody, and they were like,
Oh
"What the
boy.
fuck is that? Why do you have like?" And we would like tape
You
up
had
like
the
the
strings.
but we had like post-its and shit, and then like we legit would have like murder weapon found Tuesday. And they were like, "What the fuck are you guys doing?" We were like, "It's
I've
not
heard of this
real."
thing. Actually, you know what? I think that that's something. I think the Pole and I should get one of those. I think that she'd
You
actually
should. I'll
enjoy
send you
that.
the details of it because they don't pay us, so I can't really promote them that that much.
Fa-
But if they want to
Yep.
send us a check, I will drop their name so quick.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We had a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun, and then we were in California, so we had to pause it. Anyways, and then we got like the second iteration, like the next level, and we just never did that one.
Gotcha.
Um, but anyway, so yeah, we love a good murder mystery. So this one we were super excited for Knives Out. So Knives Out stars Daniel Craig, who plays
Yep.
Benoit Blanc, and he's like the super duper
Benoit Blanc.
detective, and he has this cool southern drawl. It's just like, what I really like about Daniel Craig playing Benoit Blanc is like you could tell he has a lot of fun, and
Yeah.
that comes out in like the character. But also Rian Johnson and that whole team, they try to give you something new with Benoit Blanc every movie. So it could be wardrobe, it could be hairstyle, it could just be like what he's into. So the reason why I opened up with like that Phantom of the Opera overture is because in this movie he's listening to Phantom of the Opera, and then he actually plays it on a church organ.
Yeah.
And I love Phantom of the Opera. It's a whole like nostalgia thing for me and my younger sister. So yeah. So this one was just tugging at all the heartstrings from the very beginning.
See, I did not realize the Phantom of the Opera little Easter egg in there. Look
Yeah.
at us guys. We learning shit. We learning shit. We learning shit. All right. So the film is actually about the Catholic Church in this one.
Yes.
Basically a former boxer turned Catholic priest um gets reassigned to a new a parish that's run by a fucking asshole. I don't think there's any other way to say it. Yeah, it is run by like the worst kind of person that you would ever want, running a church. Played by Josh Brolin.
Yes.
Playing what's the
He's
Monsignor's
playing
name?
he's playing Monsignor Wicks.
Yes, Monsignor Wicks. And Monsignor Wicks he's a troll. He's just a complete this also takes place upstate New York. And so the Judd, which is
Josh
the
O'Connor.
priest, yeah, so the priest who got reassigned here, he got reassigned because he actually punched another priest.
He
No,
punched a
punched a
deacon.
deacon. He
Yeah.
punched the deacon.
It's
But it was
important, like the hierarchy in the church is super important. So
yeah,
for this regular schmegular priest to come in and punch a deacon, well, punching anybody is like not acceptable, but he punches a
yeah.
deacon. And so he needs to be reprimanded because that's the order of operations. You don't do
That's
that.
that's like that's like punching. That's just like punching the CEO, or like the chief, the CFO of your company. You know what I'm saying? But for
So
some reason, they can't fire you because you're union.
so long story short, like he deserves it. And for all intents and purposes, the leader of his region of the Catholic Church is like, oh, he fucking deserved it, but we still have to punish you. And so we're gonna send you to this like bumfuck upstate town that has this very problematic Monsignor
Who is the
leading
worst? Yeah,
leading a dying flock. of parishioners, and we needed, essentially they needed to change. One, the Catholic Church is all about money, and
Hmm.
I'm not trying to sound sacrilegious for those of you who are very devout Catholics. I was raised Catholic. I went to Catholic school for many a year. So I know a
I
thing or
went from
two.
I went from kindergarten all the way until through high school, and then I went to an Irish Catholic college. So like, yeah, I know, I get
Yeah.
it.
It's hard. It's hard when you go to a Catholic Vincentian college. Like you're like, ugh. Anyways, to say that to say they don't want to lose their parishioners in this particular town. Additionally, nobody ever wants to close a church because you lose um what you call it.
Well,
You
I mean, I
lose
imagine also just the real estate of closing a church,
yeah.
and then it's
You
like, yeah, yeah, like, yeah, that's a lot of money. Like,
you
what do
lose
you do
yeah.
then? Yeah, yeah, that's
That
and so also if this church is failing, that means that they're not getting donations, which is also that's not money that's not being funneled back into the Catholic Church because let's not act like it's not. The church is a business,
yes.
right? It is a business. While yes, they are a nonprofit business, but they are making profit.
Yeah.
So, and this Monsignor Wicks is also not good for the Catholic Church because he gets off. And I say he gets off, I feel like he gets hard, hard. See, there's a dick talk right there. That's for you, Brandon. He gets hard off of making people walk out, especially if they're new. He will find something like a woman was in there with her child, but the father wasn't there. She's like, oh, she's a single mother. And then he went in on like breaking up a family and things like that, which then led to her leaving. But like the devout, the core people, which is only about like 5 or 6 of them, they're the only people that stay. Like
Yeah.
they're the only ones that stay. And then, you know, 5 or 6 people cannot uplift the church and keep it going. So, like, yeah, I'm pretty sure the Catholic Church is just like, you need to figure out how to get this motherfucker out of this, or you need to turn this shit around because it ain't working. And also, it's going to be a hard task. If anybody's going to do it, it's going to be the guy who punched the deacon.
Agreed. And so this is very much a punishment for Pastor Judd.
Yeah.
They're very clear being like, listen, we have to reprimand you somehow. And Monsignor Wicks has been problematic for us for some time. So we just gotta send you there. And he's cool with it. Like he gets it, he understands. And so the reason why I knew this was gonna be a good one because Josh O'Connor is the actor playing Father Judd.
Mm.
And he was in, oh my god, what's the movie with Zendaya? I just had it in my head and it slipped out where she plays tennis.
Oh, fuck. Challengers.
Thank
Challengers.
you. Ooh, I
Yeah.
couldn't type fast enough. So, with that being said, like he is the the other tennis player, facing her husband that she also had like that tumultuous relationship with when they were
Mm.
like in high. So I say like I actually really liked him in that movie, and I think he's a great actor. And so to see him playing a priest, I was like he's gonna kill it because he just has this sort of interesting way of blending a complex character. And this Father Judd is complex. He used to live a secular life. He was a boxer. He killed somebody in the ring, and because of that's what turned him into the priesthood.
Yeah, that's why he turned
um
his life to the Lord.
and
The
so,
Lord.
so that is in itself like the juxtaposition, right? Of being like, oh, like I've been out in the world, I know some things, and I actively chose God because that's what I needed and that's where I needed to be. And
Yeah.
so up front, I'm just telling you right now, Josh O'Connor kills this role. He is so fucking good as Father Judd. And Josh Brolin as Monsignor Wicks also kills it because he's Josh Brolin and he plays assholes very well.
Yep.
So with
Agree.
that being said, this particular this particular parish is called like Our Lady of Perpetual Fortitude.
Yeah.
And it's been in this, so Monsignor Wicks, this is like a generational thing for him. His grandfather was like the priest there. And then his mom was like, a recluse whore, if we're gonna go by, olden days. And she destroys the church one night when she finds out she's not gonna get her inheritance because she's a whore.
Because a
and,
hooah. Says he's a hooah.
and so when her inheritance disappears on her father's death, long story short, Monsignor Wicks essentially, like, that's what he grows up with like this idea, like, so he grows up in the church and he grows up with this whore of a mother, and all of her craziness. And so that is kind of like the long-standing legacy of the Wicks family in this town, but particularly with this church. So
Now,
he has a lot to lose if this doesn't work well, which explains why he has such a stronghold on these like remaining parishioners, because they are like the last of the true like town folk that
well,
that
he's just driven everyone else out because he is a dick. Like when Pastor Judge there, or Father Judd is there. He does a confession with him, and he just goes into gory detail about his masturbation rituals. It was like, what? Like everything is like, yeah, I masturbated this and this is like, he's just trolling him, for the most part. Which then leads to an actual fist fight because Father Judd calls like a meeting with those parishioners, and then it gets back to the Monsignor, and then he's just like, what are you, so, oh, you're trying to, take over my parish. He's like, no. Well, then it leads to a fight, into an actual fight. And then in service that same day, Monsignor Judd, I'm sorry, Monsignor Wicks dies. Like he dies. He's in he's like in this like little like, it's not crawl space, but this little space off the side from the tabernacle. I'm getting too into I'm getting too deep, and sorry. He's off, like off the altar in this little area on the side, and after his sermon, he always takes a drink, and he takes his drink, and then he collapses there, and then he gets seemingly stabbed. So that's what happens, and that's the mystery. Who killed Monsignor Wicks? And how did it happen? Because it's like, I wouldn't even. It's like maybe a 5 by 6 little area, and there is no false walls or anything like that back there. It's like, if something happened, is like, there's nothing that could have been done in that space. No one could have killed him, so everyone's wondering what actually happened here, and that's where Mont Blanc comes into play.
Benoit Blanc. So
Benoit Blanc.
Mont
Mont
Blanc is like
Blanc.
a fashion
Yeah,
thing.
listen. You know why? Because I do these fragrance reviews, and I recently did Mont Blanc.
Well,
So it's
there's a
in my
couple of
head.
things we'd be remiss to like not add to that, right? The
Well,
first
there's
one,
also a lot of shit in this. There's a
yeah,
lot of
there's
things.
a lot, right? But like the details are like the devil is truly in the details in this
Yep.
movie. So, when Pastor Judd first gets there, he's, Monsignor Wicks is basically having a dick measuring contest by having the whole confession thing and basically making Pastor Judd uncomfortable, at least trying to make him uncomfortable. This happens for about 9 months. like
Yeah.
like that's the thing. Like the window is like, it doesn't happen overnight. It happens enough where eventually Pastor Judd gets frustrated. He's like, just stop, right? Like, this is
Hmm.
absurd. I'm here, you got to deal with it, and also things need to change. That's like the gist of that conversation. But Monsignor Wicks has so this service where he dies is Good Friday service. If you know
Yes.
like the order of operations for Easter, Good Friday is kind of where shit pops off, right? In
Well,
Catholicism
that's
and
where
you know,
Jesus gets his ass
Jesus
whooped and he gets killed.
dies,
Yeah.
right? And eventually gets resurrected. So
On Easter Sunday.
this timing is pretty interesting, right? Because during this sort of stretch in the 9 months, it doesn't feel like 9 months in the movie, but you're learning more about the parishioners, especially the parishioners that are still very devout, not just to honestly, they're just devout to Monsignor Wicks because he knows things.
Yeah.
The parishioners themselves are pretty corrupt. Like they're not good people. Like they're pretty shitty people on the regular, and they're dealing with real life stuff. So like they're gonna get a lot of grace. But for the most part, like there's nothing saying that they shouldn't just be like, fuck you, Monsignor, and just live their best life. But for some reason, he just has this hold on them. Um, and so that's like really important because when the whole sort of mystery like unfurls, you find out how they played the part. And the one person who we haven't spoken about yet, who is probably like super, super interesting and like the third most like important character is Martha, who's played by Glenn Close.
Yeah.
If she's not the main character, actually, like I would say she's definitely like, up there. There's two main characters or three in this case. One is Pastor Judd, one is Monsignor Wicks, and then the third would be Glenn Close as Martha. I think it's like Delacroix or Delacrosse or something like that, which is so funny because it's like of the cross. So you're like,
Yeah.
oh, I get it. And Benoit Blanc actually takes a whole back seat to this movie. Like he doesn't appear in the movie until like 45 minutes in,
Yeah.
or 40
I
or
mean,
45
but
minutes.
at the same time, this is not like a short film. This is what? It's it's around 144 minutes. So this is a 2 hour and 15-minute film. So it's like, yeah, he comes in 44 minutes, but you still have 2 hours. You have an hour plus left in the hour and a half left in this film. So it's like, yeah, it's still going.
Yeah, I mean, but for a murder mystery, right? That Benoit Blanc is gonna be, and you're like, all right,
Yeah.
when is he coming? And so, it's interesting when we do get his introduction, how he appears, and you're like, oh snap! So you have a good amount of information
Yeah.
already by the time you realize Benoit Blanc is not only there, but the only reason why you, the viewer, know this information is because Benoit Blanc is already investigating.
So the crazy thing is about this film is when Benoit Blanc shows up, like you said, there's a lot of information out there. But when Benoit Blanc shows up, you're kind of just like, bro, we need you to figure the fuck this out because I have no clue what's going on right now. Because this one, excuse me, this one, unlike some of the other ones, was not as cut and dry, and there was a lot of backstory that had to be fleshed out, which was going to bring a lot of things to light. Because I was just like, so when watching this thing, especially if it's on Netflix, yeah, I'm good for a pause. All right, so this is what I think happened, and me and Paul are volleying back and forth on each other, trying to figure out, all right, what happened here. We were so the fuck off before Blanc, because
Mhm.
when Blanc comes in, it's like, all right, this is what we think happened, and da 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 da, and then it starts. We're just like, nope, nope, wrong, wrong, wrong. Because I was just like, oh, the false wall. Oh, this is like, no, bullshit, bullshit, bullshit.
Well, I mean, this is a good one. And it is, I think the last one, Glass Onion, it was really kind of like fun and like very bright
Mhm.
and fun. This one
Yeah,
is darker. It's very gothic. It is a little it's more detailed. And so it requires a little more of a fine tooth. And it's not so obvious. And I like that because I think the
yeah,
first one is right in the middle. Like if you're paying attention, you can figure it out, but if you missed one detail, like certain things might not make sense. With the second one, Glass Onion, I think it was a little obvious, kind of like who
yeah,
did what and like the motive. This one, it actually I found super challenging because
yes,
I note everything, and Brandon finds it really creepy. He's like, "Oh my gosh, you knew it," because we don't pause. Because Brandon is a very particular person, so he likes to see movies through, especially the first time. And
Mhm.
so what I do is if we're at home and we're watching something and I note something, I just kind of point to like the screen and I'm like, and he's like, "Shit,
Mhm.
what did you see that I didn't see?" And I'm like, "Ha." And at the end, like we'll discuss it. Um, but once I figured it out, I'll be like, I figured it out. Like I know who did it or I know what happened. Like
Yeah,
I'll just throw that out there and he's like, "How do you figure it out? Like how did you know who did it by minute 22?"
because you
And
pay
then
attention.
afterwards like we discuss it.
See,
So
Tati, you and I, we could make a hell of a detective team.
listen, I will tell you that not to give too much away from our marriage, but Brandon is like, Tati could get rid of me pretty easily and would not get caught. He was like, and I think that scares him. And I kind of like it that way, like,
You know why?
like,
Because Brandon is an innocent young man from Michigan. I have an innocent young Finnish girl in my house. we we murdered the both of them. No. I can't murder my. I have children. I have children with this young lady. No, yeah, but it's funny because like Paul and I all the same stuff because like also like certain shows we watch,
Mhm.
um, like or especially like all right, I'm not a big reality show fan. I can't do them. But at the same time, when I do tune in when she's watching the shows, I always peg exactly what's going on and who's doing this shit. I'm just like, I'm telling you, that guy's a piece of shit. She's like, how do you know? I'm just like, because I just know people. And like that guy in real life is a piece of shit. I'm just like everything about him. Like you could, if you're paying attention, you can read him. He's already told you, and she doesn't get upset. She's just like, it's crazy how you can pick up all like how you analyze this stuff so quickly, and you can see it. I'm just like, and I'm like episodes ahead. And it
Yeah.
was like the first time I'm just like, there's something up with that dude. And it was like, oh yeah, he has a secret fucking child and shit like that. I'm like, got him. All right.
I like
So
to say I'm a good judge of character, like of people and character too. And it bugs people out when I'm like, "You trust them? I don't trust them." And then the thing happens, and then they're like, "Damn, you knew in 2 minutes." I'm like, but
mm-hmm.
you live and you learn.
Yep.
So you and I have a skill that the police chief does not in this movie,
Yeah.
because the police chief was the most useless person.
Played by who's that? Was that Ruby Rose? No. No. Who the fuck was the police chief again?
Mila Kunis.
Mila Kunis. I don't know why I said Ruby Rose. I just knew it was a white woman.
So Mila
um,
Kunis, who could, first of all, this police chief could have been played by anybody. It
yeah.
was so pointless.
Cookie cutter.
And she did a terrible job playing like a low role. Like this is such a low hanging fruit role that yeah, I was like really disappointed to see her in the role. It just didn't feel right. It didn't sound right when she like said like I'm police chief da, da, da. And I was like, and then she's the one who calls Benoit Blanc. I'm like, your whole job is investigating crimes. You can't even do that? Like what the fuck are you good
Yeah,
for?
they could have got somebody different. And actually, and being that this is upstate New York, I doubt that we would have gotten the Mila Kunis as the police chief. We would have had some fucking shitty white dude.
I
Let's
mean,
let's be
allegedly, Lindsay Lohan was in talks to play the Mila Kunis role.
yeah. I understand what they're doing, but it's like look at where you're like what this is. You know what I'm saying? Like and where you're filming. It's like it just didn't fit for me.
I
I
just
mean, they're also looking at Tom Hardy. I think that Tom Hardy, would have been a better, you know, pick for that role because he could
well,
play like a dirtbag kind of cop who just doesn't care,
well,
aloof.
Tom Hardy was gonna play, I think, the Jeremy Renner role, where he's like the doctor where his wife leads him. So
Oh
Tom
yeah,
Hardy was allegedly like in talks for that role, but
you're right.
Lindsay
You're right.
Lohan was
You're
in
right.
talks for the Mila Kunis role. The whole
Yeah,
point is, I don't think the four of those actors would have done anything or did do amazing work. I
yeah,
understand, and also with Jeremy Renner, like it's interesting because they actually reference Jeremy Renner in Glass Onion, like they say he has like a hot sauce brand. So I actually found it funny that Jeremy Renner is now playing a character in the next one. So I was like, in this world, Jeremy Renner exists, but now Jeremy Renner is playing, it's like one of those meta things.
yeah.
But
Which
then
is also
also,
it because this is his first movie back well, from like the snowmobile accident, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So, I understand like him playing like just, I from what I understand, like the atmosphere and the environment of these movies is a lot of fun. So I could see big actors just wanting to have a good time, like kind of like low stakes, and it's a good hang, it's a good vibe. So I understand why he would do it. I just didn't think he brought anything to his character that made me be like, damn, I'm so glad Jeremy Renner played this role. I was like, this could have been played
yeah,
by anybody.
yeah. I mean, but he didn't do too much in this film. I don't know. I felt like excuse me. I felt like Jeremy Renner, Kerry Washington, those roles, is particularly for who they had, they didn't do as much. They weren't as kind of wrapped into the plot as much as I thought that they would be, considering those big time actors. You know,
Yeah.
I kind of expected more out of the roles, but then again, at the same time, maybe they casted them in those roles to kind of throw you off the scent, because of course you're going to look at them and you're not going to be paying attention to the other people, which do have a deeper kind of stake in the film.
Agreed. Agreed. I definitely thought, this cast having, well, I think in all of the Knives Out movies, the cast is always super like interesting, right? Because you're like, oh, you could totally see that particular actor or actress committing a murder as a character, right? So like they
Mm,
have the chops to do it. So I agree with you there for sure. It also just makes me wonder, right? Considering that these are true like A-listers, like yeah, I imagine they want kind of like an easygoing role, like not everything needs to be like super high stakes all the time. So
yeah,
that's where I'm gonna, give to Ryan Murphy. I mean, sorry, Ryan Murphy. Jesus Christ, don't ever say that again. Ryan Johnson. That was for me. That wasn't for you guys because I know the
fair.
difference between those two. um, you know, the Ryan Johnson and the team and Netflix and that whole, who done it sort of department of Netflix. I could see that being like a fun, like just a fun hang. Like I would love to be a fly on the wall on those sets on those filming days, as being like this looks like it's a lot of fun to do.
Yeah,
Um Anyways, so I say that to say we learn a lot about these characters. We know that the I mean, there's so much we could get into, right? Because there's so much that this movie gives us. Um, but I do want to say, like, the reason why Benoit Blanc is actually brought in is because the crime genuinely seems impossible.
yeah,
So that is the level up, right? Because in the first one, he's brought in ahead of like the murderer basically knows that he's murdered somebody, and they want a third party to prove, a different narrative, right? In the second one, he is brought in because, someone has been murdered and they want to prove. So like he's always brought in by somebody that's like immediately close to the murder or
hmm,
murdered or victim. And in this one, he's brought in because the police are just fucking incompetent because they cannot figure out how this crime was committed. And they're
Yeah.
just like, it just seems impossible. And so Benoit Blanc is genuinely like, it does seem impossible, but we know that that's not real. And so this one is a lot more like meta and like philosophical when it comes to religion and people's belief. And then he's being questioned and tested on his religion and his belief. And Benoit Blanc is a gay character. So there's a lot of like underlying tones there with him and his responses. Um, and so this one I think gave us a little more intellectually as
Yeah.
far as people and development, but also, like, people, they always talk about like there's two things you don't talk about, religion and politics. And this
Yeah.
was one where
It
religion
was
and
all about it.
it was all about that.
So I think the interesting thing about this was part of the plot was to basically, all right, let's get some spoilers. Monsignor Wicks was faking his death. He was faking his death to then um uh to then like rise from the dead on Easter to then up the church. You know what I'm saying? And then he was going to disappear, apparently, because he was also stealing a diamond. We learned about other parts of this later on, but he was a part of him faking his death was he found out that the diamond, excuse me, the diamond that was from the beginning of the film is here. It is somewhere hidden, and he found out where it was. So he was going to steal the diamond, which technically belonged to his mother, her mother. And then he was going to steal his as what he's seen his birthright, and he was going to run away with it because like it's also a thing where his the crypt that he was put in was going to be opened, so much like Jesus, moving the rock, from the cave that he was in and stuff like that. So there was this whole crazy plot to basically, make, uplift this church and basically make him you know, like a prophet in a sense.
Well,
They're gonna fake it.
clearly he has a flair for the theatrics, just like his her mother, and his
She's a
crazy
whore.
ass grandpa. So the short version of that yes, what you're saying, Justin, is like, so Grandpa Wicks had this inheritance. He actually decided to, instead of it being cash, he bought this like very rare diamond. The
Mhm.
mom expected to inherit said diamond. Inheritance did not happen. And
He swallowed it.
so it turns out that Grandpa Wicks swallowed it. And his faithful helper happens to be Martha, knows the secret.
Yeah, because
So
that is his
really,
granddaughter. Or
no.
no,
No,
his
she
daughter.
was just a girl in the church.
Oh shit, that's right.
She's just a parishioner. She believes so much. Like she held Grandpa Wicks to such a high standard, and her belief in Jesus and the church. So she kept all of that, and she stood with the church, and she knew everything about the church. She did all the books and paid all the bills and all that stuff. So that's why she's such a prominent person there. And when Pastor Judd comes in, she's like questioning everything about Pastor Judd. So it's because Pastor Judd challenges her, right? He's new blood. He has this different approach than Monsignor Wicks. And he challenges her. He believes that everybody is scared of Monsignor Wicks. And he challenges
Mm,
Martha, if you are not scared of Monsignor Wicks, can you confess your deepest, darkest sin to him?
mm,
And she does. And her deepest, darkest sin was the secret that she knew where the diamond was. And that's how Monsignor Wicks finds out where his
yes.
inheritance is.
Yeah.
And
Which
so at the
then
time,
did he?
you think she's
Yeah.
telling him some crazy shit, and he's sweating because he's finding out that he's like a millionaire, like a
Mhm.
multimillionaire. He just needs to make it happen. So that's where he starts concocting this plan of like, how do I get the diamond, because his grandpa's in a mausoleum. So you
Yeah.
just can't crack open mausoleums. Additionally, this would be on the church's dime. So the church is not just going to crack open the mausoleum for shits and giggles. So that's where he starts concocting this like faking of his death. Um and so for me, I peeped when she confessed. I was like, she told him where the diamond is. He's now trying to figure it out. And I was like, who could help you fake a death but a doctor? Who's a doctor?
Jeremy
Jeremy
Renner's
Renner's
character.
character,
Yeah.
because you need to know certain things about what to place and where. And so it's just a happy accident that the Catholic Church sends this new pastor there. Because had they not done that, he would have never found out where the diamond was. Like, these people would have still been miserable. It's just like all
Mm-hmm.
this stuff happens. So anyways, I say that to say that's where it gets a little convoluted, because technically he does die, but it's almost like the Romeo and Juliet thing where he's not like dead, just like
No,
his
no, no, no,
pressure's
no,
so
no, no,
low.
no. He's dead. He actually does die, because you remember they had that thing that triggered, which that stabbed him, right? So Jeremy Renner, he did kill him. So he's actually dead at that point. But Samson, which is Glenn Close's husband, dude, whatever, he basically takes his place in the tomb. So he actually gets put in the tomb, and then he actually gets the diamond, and he comes out. And he comes out, but the Pastor Judd showed up, and he was there, which then fucked up that whole thing. And
Right.
then that's how Samson ended up getting killed.
So there was two plans. And that's where Glenn Close, when she confesses the second part of the plan, which was Jeremy Renner's character was supposed to help Monsignor Wicks fake his death, but not really kill him. Because Monsignor Wicks has to tell him what the reason why, he gets so jaded by the whole thing that he essentially
He did. It's a double cross.
yeah,
He
it's a
double
double
crosses.
cross.
Well,
So
no, well,
so
it's not the thing. No, so basically Monsignor Wicks has Jeremy Renner to do to do this thing, right? But then Jeremy Renner actually, so then Glenn Close tells Jeremy Renner, is just like, hey, this is the shit that's really going on, and what's happening is, and like, this is his plan. He's going to steal this. So she gets him on the side. So then he actually really kills him, and then he then double crosses because he wants.
so this is really like a triple cross when you think about it, because it's
Yeah,
like so the whole thing is that Monsignor Wicks thinking he gonna get his diamond, and all these people are on his side to help
and
him
he
get
just gets
away
body
with it.
back.
And they're just like, so Glenn Close about that Catholic life. She's like, no, the fuck you not. And Jeremy
Mm-hmm.
Renner's like, I need to get my wife back, that harlot.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way I could do that is by getting this diamond and getting this money.
So then once she realized that Jeremy Renner is double crossing her, then she switches the fucking that like serum or whatever, which then he kind of passes out, and then she throws him into the tub of acid, and then she puts
Which,
Monsignor Wick's body at the edge. Which also, how did she carry him into there? That's crazy,
I
without
mean,
splashing herself with acid.
I mean, the point is, Glenn Close, she old in real life and she old in this movie too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so I just don't understand. But you know what? When the power of Christ compels you, you
Well, the power of
find the
money
strength.
compels you.
You find the strength, and Glenn Close truly was ride or die for Jesus. Not
But
only did she
also,
ride,
she was
she
also riding died for her dude Samson. When Jeremy Renner killed Samson, he fucked up, because when you fuck with a old woman's good dick, you done fucked up. saying.
a whole bunch of shit, like a whole bunch of shit comes out, you know, a comes out prior to Monsignor dying. So there are a lot of red herrings, right? So the Kerry Washington character has been raising his illegitimate son, and she thought it was her father's illegitimate son. So she's got a bone to pick, like he's been this one chick who's been, essentially paralyzed from an accident. He's been taking money from her, saying that he was going to cure her, and then was like, nope, pull the rug out from under her, was like, nah, you always gonna be in pain, and you just been trying to buy your way into heaven, and there's no way to do that. And the reason why this stuff starts coming out is because he now knows the truth, so he's not holding back from his parishioners anymore. So
Yeah.
he's giving them the hard truths, and now they're not liking it. So you can understand why they would all want to take him out, but it is in this that Benoit Blanc actually doesn't necessarily solve the case on his own.
Yeah.
Like, it just happened to be a series of events that led him to, like, not having Pastor Judd. Pastor Judd was going to confess to certain things, and he was just like, don't confess because there's something more to this. We just don't know what the more is, and you're going to go to jail for what or for whom?
Yeah.
And so that's really an interesting one, because if I had to tally this, I would say that Benoit Blanc really didn't solve this. I think he knew that Martha knew some things, and he was trying to get her to tell the truth, but I don't think he knew the whole triple double crossing of the things. It wasn't until the next thing happened that he was
Well,
like,
exactly.
oh,
Exactly.
like, this person's now out. So this is a departure from the typical Knives Out series for sure.
Well, and I kind of liked it because it was a different, it was just different. It was different than what we're used to, especially with just murder mysteries as a whole. Um and like it was almost the perfect murder up until the fact that people got greedy and they couldn't keep their shit together, which is 9 out of 10 why most murders get solved, because people get greedy. Oh no, not even murders, just most mysteries get solved because people are greedy. People want notoriety, so they tell people and shit like that, and they end up fucking themselves over because it's ego. Ego
Yeah.
is the downfall of many a men and women, especially in the world of crime.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree.
yeah, but
Listen,
that's why I love this shit.
Brandon and I have been very inspired by the events of something happening in my life. No, no one has been murdered yet. But there
Hmm.
have been a few deaths surrounding some things. And so we might actually turn that into murder mystery because, of course, there's money involved.
Yep.
And the minute you throw any kind of money in there, people start acting funny. And when they start
Yep.
acting funny, you can't trust them. And so, listen, you might have a Tati series, a Tati murder mystery series coming out soon, because it is like wild. Um, but I say that to say, um, the reason why I'm totally leaning into creating my own series is very similar to this letterbox review by Reese, for Wake Up Dead Man, 4.5 stars. Reese
Mhm.
says, my Netflix subscription money should only go to making one of these a year till the end of time. And so, if I am successful with my murder mystery series, I too can make all the Netflix money with the fucking shenanigans going on in my life right now.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Oh my
What you
goodness.
got?
But all right, so our next one is by Omnis, and they gave it 4 stars, and they said the way Josh O'Connor helped me transition from being an atheist to an absolute believer. And that is one thing that as I sort of topped off my spiel, right, is that Josh O'Connor really delivers. And there's something really authentic about his speech about being a priest and being forgiven and and genuinely like going to confess. It has to be authentic. You have to do it of free will. That is really
Mm.
inspiring.
Yeah.
Um and even Benoit Blanc gives it like a thought. He doesn't follow
Like,
through,
okay.
but he's like, "No, but like yeah, like you're inspiring. You belong here. You're in the right space." And I agree with Omnis on that. So that's what we have for letterbox reviews.
But
Justin, tell us what's going on the Patreon.
you guys know if you're on Patreon, if you're loving the show and you're giving that little bit of money, to us every month. If you watch these films and you throw a little review on Patreon, we will read it on the show. So these are the two Patreon comments that we got from Patreon. Up first, we have Alicia, and she says, "This movie moved a little slowly, but overall, I enjoyed it. They really didn't give Kerry Washington and Jeremy Renner much to do. They probably could have saved some money in that budget and gotten some lesser known actors." Yes, I mentioned this earlier. Like, yes, I agree with you, but it's good to then use those actors as red herrings because you would imagine that they would be deeper into the stories, which I guess um, uh, Jeremy Renner was. He was far more involved than Kerry Washington was, but Kerry Washington was kind of the one that was just like, I'm blowing the fucking lid on this shit. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, for a
Uh,
hundred, I was super surprised too to learn that this cost $151 million.
yeah.
Like it's just I don't know if they had to buy rights to pretend to be Catholic priests. Like Jeremy Wright was great in it, but you can't tell me he cost that much money to do what he did in this
Jeffrey
movie.
Wright. But
Sorry,
yeah,
Jeffrey Wright. Oh my god.
yeah. I mean, I get what you're saying, but also it's like, again, it's the star power.
Yeah,
It's the star power.
I get it.
Um, So Darren Patterson, it says, "This was my favorite Knives Out yet. You can tell this was one of the most personal ones for Rian Johnson, as he's clearly working out his feelings on organized religion. I love how he shows the good religion. I'm sorry. I love how he shows the good religion can bring and how others can use it to weaponize, to control their cult for other selfish reasons. Very true. I was really moved by the scene where Judd was on the phone with the clerk with the ailing mother. While it wasn't a perfect movie, I feel like this film is unjustly getting slept on, which sucks because Josh O'Connor, Glenn Close, and Josh Brolin have great performances, and it had more time to cook in the theater. If it had more time to cook in the theaters, I think it would have been a bigger hit. Large popcorn. I agree. I
Here,
agree
here.
wholeheartedly. I think, especially on a thing about like the church and the double-edged sword of how of just the church of what it can be and what it falls into and whatnot. With that being said, let's jump into our reviews of this film. So you guys know how we do it. We review movies on a scale of popcorns, bags of popcorns, rather, small, medium, large, and the XL or the exceptional. If a film doesn't deserve any hot, buttery, delicious popcorn, we throw it into the stale popcorn pile. We pile piles and piles of stale popcorn on top of it. So, Tati, we watched the 2025 film, excuse me, Wake Up Dead Man, a Knives Out mystery. What say you to Tay?
I say that this is absolutely getting a large for me. I agree. It was slow in some parts, but once you understand it, like once you understand the departure from the typical formula of Benoit Blanc being so upfront and center, and he does take a little bit of a backseat. It makes sense. And I think Ryan Johnson made a good choice because if it's too formulaic, like Law and Order, we're gonna find out
Yeah.
who the big bad is in 2 minutes, right? So it kept us on our toes. And I think one of my favorite quotes that I finished out the year with came from this movie, and I'll close out this episode with it when we get to that point. But it is definitely a nice buttery large. I'd even add a soda, some M&Ms, It's definitely given
Okay.
large.
Yeah, I'm gonna give. You know what? I don't know if I want to give this a large or an XL. like I really like this film. I really like this film. And another reason why it's a really good film is because Paula and I watched this at night. And Paula is known for falling asleep on shit. She's getting old, guys. She's falling asleep. She will fall asleep watching anything on TV. Doesn't matter what the fuck it is. But we started this pretty late. She's like, I'm gonna fall asleep. And she stayed up all throughout this stuff because it will grab you. It will grab you. I'm gonna give it an XL. I really enjoyed this one. So before we go, Tati, what do you rank this one in the Knives Out series? Where do you rank them? Personally, for me,
Ooh.
I may put 3, 1, 2.
I would say 3 and 1 are neck and neck for me, but it's because 3 is so different. Like the formula for 3, like for Wake Up Dead Man, is so different than just the Knives Out. So, and Knives Out kind of like set the tone for everything. So 3 and 1 are definitely neck and neck. And then 2. 2 is a lot of fun, but I figured it out so quick. All I did was confirm everything after that. So yeah. It's a 1-3 tie for first. Looks like we're having a little bit of a technical difficulty right as we were wrapping it up. I want to thank you guys so much for joining us. My name is Tatiana. You can follow me at Boricua Collins on Instagram. You can follow Brandon, who is still on sabbatical, at Frodo_Blackens on all the social media platforms. You can follow Justin at JBrownDidIt on all the social media platforms. And do not forget to like, follow, comment, subscribe to us and all of our spaces under Medium P Podcast. We're also on Patreon. You can buy us a cup of coffee. We like our caffeine.
That's
hey,
right.
Justin.
Hey, I'm back. I'm back. And guess what, guys? Speaking of Patreon, why don't you go over to Patreon and join on up? Patreon.com/medium popcorn. We have $2, $5, $10, and $15 packages. Our entire backlog is on Patreon. We've got bonus episodes. We've got mini episodes. And we have one of the largest, most enriched library of bullshit you're ever going to find. So, guys, again, take yourself over to patreon.com/medium popcorn. Show us a little bit of love. Now, Tati, drop us that quote so we can get the hell on out of here so I can fix my internet.
Now, as we wrap up this podcast, I want to leave you with a few words of wisdom like any good leader would, for they perish. As you touch yourself and you think about the questionable things you've done in your life and you're getting ready to jizz, stay young, stay dumb, and stay full of Christ.
Mm-hmm.
Amen.
Because you're no longer full of cum.
Oh, Justin!
That's right, guys. That's dick talk. Talk to y'all later.
Bye.
Peace.
Medium popcorn. We are two niggas spoiling movies. Yeah. Brandon Collins, that's me, and Justin Brown for your movie needs. Medium popcorn. Woo! You haven't seen it, well, we're gonna spoil it. Spoil it in your face. That's your warning. So if you get pissed, it's all your fault.